Welcome back everyone, it's Cryptic with How to Meta. Today we'll be looking at a new game that recently hit the market. Timestamps for those who just want the meta are down below. Ember Knight is a roguelike hack and slash. It can be played both multiplayer and solo. It's bright and has an overall joyful feel to it. So let's start with the price. Ember Knight is an early access and is going for around $15 on Steam as of the release of this video. And I can say without a doubt, it is worth it. The game is amazing. I value games on a scale of hours played, so for me to consider a game a good price, I like to get at least 1 hour for every 50 cents I spend, or 2 hours per dollar. I find this metric fair as most AAA titles can easily give over 120 hours of playtime. So let's move on to content. How big is the game? As of now, they have 2 classes, or weapons as they call it, since the only difference in Knights is their choice of murder. 3 worlds, 12 unique skills to cast, and over 60 relics to find. My favorite feature to date are the random mini-boss variations. In just the first zone, I've encountered 4 variations of this mini-boss. This game is in early access and is well worth the $15 as is. However, they plan to add even more. 2 worlds, a bunch of new weapons and skills and relics, as well as expanding the storyline. The developers didn't release the game until they had something that not only worked, but felt good to play, and honestly, that's a breath of fresh air. After diving through the pit of early access games that have come out filled with bugs and crashes. That, plus the fact that they have a clear and well thought out plan for the already polished game, makes me feel like it was money well spent. Well, Yami's money well spent. Thanks again, dude. Let's dive into the combat. The combat itself is fluid and rewarding. Due to the fact that your character attacks where your cursor is in the game, it is best played with controller, as is suggested by the developers. However, even while playing on mouse and keyboard, it felt amazing. Ember Knight's combat consists of rolling and attacking like a Souls game, and is the embodiment of easy to learn but hard to master. When you roll, you dodge enemies' attacks, gaining immunity frames. The immunity frames are large and protect you from all damage. Attacking is where mastering the game comes into play. You can chain attacks and dodges in a remarkably large amount of ways. Ember Knight's combat is heavily focused on being mobility friendly, meaning no long windups for your attacks and instant reaction on dodge commands. This mobility is complemented by the skills you pick up on each run. You can hold 2 per run and all have a cast time. But when I say cast time, it's more of a charge bar. As you charge each spell, it will show you where it's going to cast. The outline of the spell will go from small and colored, and then it will change to white when perfectly charged, then quickly change back to colored as shown on screen. The small window for a perfect cast adds a layer of depth and skill that feels rewarding when you are able to pull it off. Unlike most games, you aren't locked into a cast animation, or if you have to move, you don't lose out on casting your spell. And it isn't really punishing to have to quickly cancel cast a spell and dodge away from projectiles or attacks. Your spell still goes off and deals damage, and you get to dodge a hit like a ninja. This also preserves the awesome feeling of calculating the perfect skill cast, and working that spell into your attack and dodge combos. Which brings me to resources. Instead of some lame mana or cooldown timers, your skills are fueled by combat. Each melee hit you deal to an enemy slowly charges your skills. Hitting multiple enemies give multiple charges. And this can be further decreased with items. I won't spoil anything else about the combat of the game, as it is the core gameplay. So let's break into the meta. Now, this is my bread and butter. I love tearing into games and turning my character into an efficient machine. But Ember Knight is in early access, so meta finding is out of the question. As the team will make many changes and updates, any build I make will just be outdated. So I guess I'll have to come back to this game at a later date, when it's updated and the full game is out. Is what I would say if the upgrades for your Ember Knights were not the most expensive and taxing thing in the world. Each tree can easily cost hundreds of soul farts. Even after killing a boss, you can be left with less than 200 soul farts. So, like with any grind, I broke out the math and Excel spreadsheets and found out something a little disappointing actually. The most effective way to farm soul farts, and yes, I'm sticking with that name, is to run the starting world as fast as possible and go through a stage that gives you soul farts, and then dying on the first mini-boss. By the time you get to the first mini-boss, you should have collected over 100 soul farts. If done fast enough, this should take less than 3 minutes, making the fastest farm to date 2,000 soul farts an hour. This will let you quickly upgrade your Ember Knight to take on the harder and more punishing parts of the game. Unfortunately, repeating the first zone is the meta. It is something I'd like them to fix. The tree of upgrades is relatively small and the upgrades cost an entire run of soul farts to buy. However, if they added some more options or toned the cost of the tree down, I feel like it would crush the fast-paced and well-balanced game they already have. As one of the game's biggest choices is to either take the substantial power boost and potentially get farther into the game, or risk not having the boost and securing some soul farts. There really isn't a fix I can think of that wouldn't require a massive rework to the game, and to be honest, the tryhard in me can get over it. Even though I love crushing games with meta builds and saving time calculating the fastest way to kill a grind, I still find myself ignoring this tactic and just playing the game. It's amazing, the art is phenomenal, and the combat is visceral. And even the loading screen brings me joy. Just look at the little guy. This is a beautiful game that I can't wait to play more of when it's fully released. ASMODEE, you guys put out a masterpiece. Keep up the good work. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and make the algorithm happy. But most importantly, have a wonderful day.